I was going to talk about how mostly everybody should be using the flatbed brewer just because how more evenly distributed the coffee bed is compared to a cone shaped filter brewer. But then as I was testing out this theory again for the past couple of days, I think I want to talk about something different, something else, something that is probably more relevant to what you're trying to do in your coffee journey. As you can see back there, or kind of really in front of me, I have a lot of coffee gear. Most of them are cone shaped brewers, but there are a handful of flatbed brewers that I do have. And a lot of times when you think that you need something, in this case, you probably really don't. So here's what I'm talking about. Here's a Hario V60, okay? And we know it can take a cone-shaped filter, right? A lot of us know. Some of us haven't tried it yet. The Hario V60 can take a cone-shaped filter. Simply put it up top. It keeps the same shape as a cone. I think this is a Kalita Wave filter, if I remember correctly. And then you have the April Brewer, and then I have the Origami back there, filter too. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying is that you're not missing much of anything besides the total shape of the brewer with the flatbed. The shape is formed by the cone, by the filter itself. And once we know that, our possibilities of making coffees that we like and enjoy are there. Because that's the biggest thing here. Because there are times that I prefer a cone-shaped brewer over a flatbed brewer. But lately, what I've noticed and realized, at least for me, is that the acidity punches way too hard with a cone-shaped filter. Whenever I use a flatbed, it tones it down. Not in a bad, negative way. It kind of like puts everything into more perspective, if that makes any sense. There's no like crazy highlight of acidity here that just kind of just stays and lingers and just does its thing. But it just mellows and smooths it out. Sometimes I can taste a little bit more sweetness from a flatbed brewer than a cone shape. And I don't know if that's more so the coffee. I don't know if that's just me just tasting coffee differently now. And this is coming from a person who has been a cone-shaped filter brewer person for a very long time. Was against this whole flatbed thingy. I didn't like the way the ridges were and all that stuff. But when you look past that and actually see what we're really trying to do here, it works. It works because we're just trying to make the best coffee for ourselves for that particular time. And when we do that, and when we understand that, then there's no real judgment here. There's no real type of saying like, I prefer this. I have this badge on my shoulder. And I don't know about you, but I do that from time to time. Before, I used to do a lot of intermittent fasting. I used to do like a 3 to 4 hour window. And I look down at people who was doing a 16-8, and now I do a 16-8. Or people who eat 6, 7, 8 times a day. And then even with the coffee thing, I'm like, wow, I'm not so much of an espresso guy. I understand it. I get it. But I'm a pour over guy. I'm not so much of a French press. But when we understand and just try things for what they are, to get to understand and to trust and push our palates, we'll probably realize that more than anything, we probably like that other thing more than we thought that we did. And that's the case here. Like I said, I've been making coffee flatbed for the past couple of days specifically. And then I'll switch back to cone. And then it's kind of trippy, really. I think I've talked about it. It's always going to be something that we've always going to come back to. But the thing about it is that this is subtle. The differences, it's there, it's evident. But if it's subtle enough, it's where you can actually understand coffee and prefer something. So that's what I prefer. I don't really have recipes for you. I've tried different things, different pours, different techniques. All of it really works, you know. But one of the biggest takeaways here that I want to give you is that if you already have a Hario V60, you're good and golden. Just get a couple different flatbed filters and try them out on your cone-shaped brewer, because it works. It'll do the same job. It'll get you to see what you like in that particular coffee for that particular moment. And then once you decide on which flavor profile that you prefer for that coffee, then go along it with that journey. And I think that's the cool thing about it. Because, yes, even though I may think that most people may prefer or should use a flatbed brewer, it's also one of those things to where the choices don't really matter as much as long as you have the tools and accessories in order to see for yourself. And I think the cool thing about this is that, yeah, is it about gear? Sure. But it's more about accessories to help you get there, especially if you're already using something to that extent. For instance, if you're used to just using a cone-shaped filter, you probably realize too that the acidity is way too punchy in your mouth. At least for me, as I stated earlier. But then, as you get that particular coffee, that exact same coffee, and you get it to where it's punchy, but not loud, but smooth, but still talks to you, it's pretty cool that something, even though it's so subtle, can also give you something to where it kind of just works. And if we can push ourselves with the accessories, even though it is a part of the gear, but since we throw away the filter every time we use or make a cup of coffee, we can explore that way. We can see what we like, what we don't like, because sometimes a regular Hario V60 cone-shaped filter is exactly what you need for that dark roast. Or you want to use a fast filter for whatever reason. That's cool. And as we understand that, gravitate to that way of thinking, that way of logic, then our imaginations are going to take over. Our taste buds are going to take us on this journey for whatever we're truly trying to do. Because I can tell you that this gear is best for this reason or that, or this one sucks because I just don't like it anymore. But that's really irresponsible and irrelevant. It doesn't matter what I say or do. It's all about what you want to do and what you care about and why you care about it. And again, it can change for that moment. It could change forever. But at least we know that we have the possibilities of tasting coffee with whatever gear that we do have. Even if it is this funky design right here that can take a cone-shaped filter and a flatbed filter You know, it all works. And I think that's the beauty of this. And I think that's one reason why I really truly like this one, because they leaned into it. They're like, hey guys, you can use whatever filter you want to for the most part. It'll work in this particular brewer. It'll work in a Harvey 62. But we're giving you the options to just explore, test, and pick whatever coffee that you want for that particular thing and reason. So that's my logic. That's my thing. That's what I have for you right now. Do you have different brewers? Or you're thinking about getting another brewer because you don't have it, or somebody's talking about it? If you already have a $10 Harvey V60, probably just buy some filters, some flatbed filters, and just see what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, that's all that we're trying to do. We're trying to see what works for us for that moment. So this is Oki at Everyday Beans signing off. Let me know what you think. Talk to you later. Bye.